Heavy metal
My
rock.
global mind.
Spiders seeking shelter, fading with the dawn.
I'm Robert Cavuto, and today on My Global Mind, I'm pleased to be speaking with James LaBrie of Dream Theater for the release of the band's furious new album, Parasomnia, that comes out on February 7th. James, welcome and thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Yeah, well, thank you. That's a great introduction.
I
Yeah,
think I said it right too, right? Parasomnia?
yeah. Parasomnia. Yeah.
Parasomnia, right.
Uh,
I had to look it up to see what it means, and now I understand. I have a better understanding about the sleep
hmm
disorder. Um,
Yeah.
Share in your words a little bit about how it related to the album, how it related to the band.
Well, okay. So, I mean, originally, John Petrucci, when we knew we were going to be within a few months going into the studio to write and record the reunion album, he had mentioned that he came across this subject, and it was dealing with sleep disorders called parasomnia. So he asked if any of us are we all into this, and maybe look into it and get back. And so yeah, we each looked it up and started reading and educating and somehow enlightening ourselves to this subject. And myself personally, I was fascinated by it because I didn't realize that it was something that was so perverse, like in a global sense, that there was so many people suffering from this sleep disorder. And so at that point, when we established that, yeah, we're all behind this lyric approach, and that it kind of sets it up so that now the album is going to be thematic, a thematic album, not conceptual. It kind of lent itself to where we wanted to go musically. I mean, when you're talking about such a dark subject,
Yeah.
well, obviously the natural progression musically would be that it's dark and heavy and aggressive, and at the same time it can be very cinematic,
Yeah.
because you're painting somewhat like a movie or a story unfolding. So yeah, it's very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frantic is another good word. I think,
What
even
was that? I'm sorry.
frantic. It's very
Oh,
frantic,
frantic. Oh, for
yeah,
sure.
which could be like a bad dream, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, what I liked about the album was that there was a song that almost touched on every aspect of this disorder. Night Terror was one, Dream Asleep, We Are Dreaming. Each one and lyrically touched upon it. So, I was wondering, did you guys have to get an advanced degree or a PhD in sleep disorder to pull this all together, to write the lyrics, to form it all?
Yeah. Well, with me personally, I just read up on the subject as much
Yeah.
as I can. And I want to understand it so that I'm giving it, what it deserves
Yeah.
because when it comes to lyrics or a book, it's all about communication, right? You're communicating to people something that can be felt and understood immediately. And so with me personally, I don't know what the other guys did, how they went about being John Petrucci and Mike Portnoy. I mean, it for me, it's just about understanding what you're writing about
Yeah.
so that it feels more a part of you. Almost like maybe it's not only something that you're aware of, but maybe something that you can throw yourself into that situation, and how would you interpret it, and how would you feel, and what would it say to you emotionally. And
Right.
that's the way I've always been with lyrics. So this really lends itself to something that is so cinematic, to me anyways. And so when I was writing The Broken Man, or bend the clock, I mean, it was something that just those aspects of parasomnia just needed to be told.
Yeah,
And
those are two great songs. Bend the Clock is great. That's one of, I guess you would say, almost a dark ballad on the album.
yeah, yeah, that's a great way to look at it. But yeah, it's very like when when you're feeling it, or when you're listening to that song, yeah, you can't help but but feel that distraught
Yes.
feeling, that ominous feeling, that knowing, like, to me, what I was taking from it was, I can't imagine being these people that each and every night you feel it, you feel it creeping towards you, and you know what you're going to be experiencing, and it's beyond your control.
Right.
You're in an extremely helpless situation, and to the point where, unfortunately, people go to drastic means to take care of it. They constantly want to numb themselves by, drugs or booze, and then they realize at some point that's not doing it. And if you don't get the help, the therapy that is absolutely necessary, you end up where none of us want to be, and that's you're done. Your
Yeah.
life has come to an end. Yeah, it's just, yeah,
I
it's
really,
yeah.
and then the clock, I really like the aspect where there was this hope, this longing of wellness. There was
Hmm.
points where I was like, oh, is he talking a little bit about they're past it, but no, it's like a hope that they're gonna get
Yeah.
past it. And I really like that aspect and their approach.
Well, what like, basically, if I could bend the clock, the passageway of time is saying, like, if I could get back to my innocence
Mm,
before any of these conflicting uh, situations, or uh, constant reminders of trauma.
mm,
They're being inundated with something that was very traumatic in their life, and they can't get past it, and they're thinking, if I could just get back to before that traumatic incident,
yeah,
maybe I could recapture who and what I was before, which is a much better version than who and what I am now.
no, that's
Yeah,
great. And,
yeah.
and speaking of, the frantic nature and the powerful nature of this Night Terror, it opens up the album. I read it was the
Mm,
first song that you guys all wrote together and worked on
correct,
together for the
correct.
reunited band. And as the whole album, like you said, is very cinematic as it builds to the 20-minute epic closer. I almost thought the album was orchestrated like a Broadway play, from
Mm,
setting up all the way to the end.
yeah, yeah.
Was it really tough to sequence the album to make sure where the songs fit into the play and the flow of the album itself?
No, I think that's something that we've been doing for so long that it's just a natural unfolding.
Mm,
I mean, obviously, it comes from communication. We're always communicating. Hey, hey, what if we did this here? Because you're aware, once you get the first song under your belt, it's kind of like it's showing. Okay, so this is where we should go. This is something that could be really cool that feeds off of what we've already established here, and vice versa. Hey, let's have a precursor that sets all of the songs up, being in
yeah.
the arms of Morpheus and stuff like that. So, which is also very cinematic, or a thematic, kind of unfolding, and very theatrical, as you say. You could easily be sitting in watching a play
Absolutely.
unfold in front of you. So all these things, there's definitely, there's a reason for it, and we purposely do these things so that it does unfold in the way that you have already interpreted it and already have felt it from beginning to end. Is that it is a ride, it is something where you're going, because that's why you have the reoccurring themes or motifs musically, and then you have the the lyrical content that kind of supports everything else that's going lyrically, because of the general consensus on the subject matter. So it's all purposefully done,
Yeah.
so that it feels like you're riding through. You're in a theater watching a movie.
After you
And
write that
yeah,
initial song, does it really set the tone? Say, all right, now we got it. Now we know where we're going with this.
yeah.
This theme is gonna work. And then it makes the writing easier and the musical elements easier.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, once you get that first song, and like we're saying here, Night Terror was the first song. Not only are you able to reflect on what that song is in itself, is like, does this feel great? Is this exactly where we want to be going musically? Yes, it is. Yeah, absolutely. That opens the door, busts the door wide open, as far as, okay, well, then now, because of that, here's another idea, and here's another area that we can go in. And this only makes sense perfect sense for us to go down here musically that will support that, and vice versa. So yeah, you know, you got to get the one under your belt, especially when you're writing an album as such, in order to get everything else to make sense and be cohesive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really like the idea of a theme versus a concept, because this isn't one person's journey through, you know, all the different aspects of the disorder, but this is, you know, each song stands alone and each song is a separate entity that touches upon the theme. And I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah, you know, and that's the beauty of it, is that you're not writing. Everyone's like, is this? Well, it sounds to me like it's going to be a conceptual. No, it's not.
No.
That is the beauty when you are writing something more, as we're referring to it here, thematic, is that you can give each song its identity.
Mhm.
Each song doesn't have to be so, you know, when you're constructing something conceptual, yes, there are a lot of similarities, a lot of parallels,
Mhm.
but, you know, not exactly. Not exactly. You have a little bit more freedom as to where you can go within the context of each and every song, and more so that each song has its own identity and can be played on its own. That can just be, hey, you know, that's a great song with a great lyric. You know, wow, that's a cool concept. So yeah, it just gives you a little bit more freedom, that you don't have to stay within the confines of, let's say, a conceptual piece where it all has to really coincide with one another. Yeah, and interact. Yeah.
I've spoken to the members of the band, a lot of them over the course of time. I never asked them this question, particularly like
Yeah.
on Shadow Man incidents. That's 20 minutes long, but it's
Yeah.
great. It's like a multi-song within a song.
Right.
Does the band ever have to self-center how much goes into a song, how long a song is? When do you say it's done, it's baked, and it's perfect? Is it a lot of work to get to that point?
Well, there's a lot of steps along the way, and yeah, I mean, you know, you're very focused on what it is that you're trying to achieve. You have some sense of where you want to go, and I think with any epic piece within Dream Theater catalog, it's never been about, well, you know, hey guys, you know, we're at 18 minutes, you know, we got to really wrap this shit up. I mean, you might just say that, you know, in passing. Oh, guys, we're already at, you know, whatever the minute might be. We're already at 15 minutes. So, and sometimes you do have that conversation. Hey, guys, you know, so far we've done this, and we're at the 15-minute mark. So, you know, maybe all we need to do is create this kind of a feel, or we need to go back and give a nod to that earlier piece that really
Wow.
supports where we're at this particular moment. And then we can see where we're at that point where we can wrap it up. And you do have those conversations. And I think, you know, one of the things is that even with all that being said, we're not going to just stop because we are at 20 plus minutes, because we're going, well, we're already like pushing the limits for
Yeah.
somebody wanting to listen to this from beginning to end. It's really comes down to, did we complete what our goal was here? And do we really feel that we gave this piece everything that it needed to, so that we feel it is 100% complete, and we achieved everything that needed to be done to create such a piece,
Yeah.
right? So it's just a matter of, you know, like, if there's no as far as how long it takes to create something like that, you could be looking at, you know, days to a week, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
before you really feel that you've. And there's a lot of instances in the past where you create something, you feel it's complete, and then upon listening to it over and over again, you go, wait a minute, you know, like, we need to add this, or we should, let's lose that, you know, that doesn't really add up. It's not necessary. So there is a bit of that too, where you're going back and editing or adding. And yeah,
Fascinating.
it's just all, there's no rhyme or reason. Like, there is, I should say that there is rhyme and reason to it, but each situation might be collectively achieved in a not exactly the same way. Yeah.
It's fascinating that it really sounds like it's based on feel. It's
Yeah.
not, you're trying to clock in or unclock on something. It's really based on feel and the song itself as an entity. And I like to hear that.
Well, yeah, and
It
you need to
supports the
keep
band.
listening to it as to how it's hitting you, right? Is it,
Yeah.
like if you establish something that's a heavier, dark, say, part, and then you want to go into a more light and ethereal uh, part of it, does it does it make sense that we just did what we did? And is it flowing, and does it feel natural, and does it feel that it's there's a purpose to any of it? So you're constantly doing that. But I think once you start getting into the piece and maybe you have a goal as to where you want to take it, that all helps. It's just like a writer, if you can start writing whether it be a poem, which lyrics are poetry, or whether it be a book that you're writing, the perfect situation is to know when you start a book as to how you want to end it,
Yeah.
and what is your, ultimately, where do you want it to lead to? And if you
Fascinating.
have those in front of you and you're very specific about it, it just really lends itself to making it that much easier of a process.
That's
Yeah.
fascinating. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Is that song something you could play live?
Oh, absolutely.
You
That's
think the
something
fans would
that
love the 20-minute
begs.
song?
Yeah, but that's something that begs to be played live. I mean, that's who we've always been. I mean, currently we're on tour. We're not, well, we will be on tour
Couple
in a
days, yeah.
couple of weeks. Yeah. We're doing Octavarium. you know, I
Yeah.
mean, that's a huge piece, 20 minutes plus, and it's, there's that is something that we brought back. We haven't played that in so long, and we brought it back, and our fans are ecstatic
Yeah.
about the fact that we are actually playing something. So as far as the Shadow Man incident, absolutely, it's something that we're all saying, we got to bring this out, we got to play this. And visually, the imagery that will be that we can create to go up on the screens behind us will be fascinating. So
Yeah.
it just adds more of that cinematic,
Yeah.
theatrical element that has always been a part of who and what we are as Dream Theater. Yeah.
That's great. I would imagine you, like you said, you're going out, I think February 7th, another 2 weeks or
Yeah,
so.
correct. Yeah.
Um, is the set list baked? Did you guys know what you're going to be playing? Are you still working on it?
Well, we've handed off that baton to Mike Portnoy once again. So he's
Yeah.
creating the set list, and like I've said forever, is that he's first and foremost the biggest fan of Dream Theater. So when he goes about this, he's very, very specific. He analyzes everything. He knows the catalog like the back of his hand. He's and he puts it in. You know, he's able to put it in the right context that makes absolute sense for who and what we are at that particular moment or that tour,
Yeah.
so that he knows that this is what the fans, if they're hearing this song or this song or this song hasn't been played for so long, he even breaks it down to going in, well, guys, last time we were in that area of the territory, we didn't play this or that hasn't been played over there or wherever we might be going for so long. It only makes sense that we do this. So he keeps adding to the set list, and as the tour goes on, he'll add and take away. Let's bring this song back, let's take away that song from the set list. We can always bring it back. So he's always creating some excitement and some freshness, which just excites the fans even that much more. But yeah, I mean, he does a stupendous job each and every time.
How
So
long does it
it's
take you?
great.
How long does it take you to get up to speed with a new set list? I mean, do you have to rehearse? I mean, are you going to rehearsal for the next couple of
Oh,
weeks? Do this?
yeah. Well, yeah. So rehearsals start. What is today? Tuesday?
Yeah,
Tomorrow.
Tuesday. Tuesday the
Tomorrow.
28th.
Yeah. So the band's going to loosely start getting into rehearsal mode tomorrow. And then we'll probably be full on it by Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then we'll rehearse most of next week leading up to the first show in Philadelphia on the 7th, which is the day of the album's release as
That's
well, February
that's right.
7th. So that'll be an exciting evening for all. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, we start rehearsals loosely tomorrow. I don't begin with the band until Friday. So I'm going to fly in on Thursday evening, and then I start rehearsing full on with the band come this Friday.
That's
Yeah.
great. You know, I
Yeah.
really find it fascinating that you will be willing to change the set list based upon an area or something's working, something's not working, because
Hmm.
Dream Theater is a big production. You know, you have a ton of people behind the scenes, lighting, crews, sound, text.
Absolutely.
So to say tomorrow we're going to do this song instead of that song, that really changes everything up for everybody involved.
Yeah, and even more so, it's even harder nowadays because you just said it, the production end of things. So, we can't just bust in a song out of the blue
Right, right.
because our lighting director is going to go, wait a minute, I have to design lighting for that. Our videographer has to say, wait a minute, I have to create the imagery for that. Our girl that's doing lasers says, hang on a second, I got to create a
Yeah.
design for that with the lasers. So yes, it's something that has to be established ahead of time, even though to the fan it might be like, oh well, man, they played Midnight Messiah last night and tonight they're playing Under a Glass Moon or something like that. It
Right.
has to be something that these are going to be the staples.
Right.
These are going to be what we're going to, and nothing more, nothing less. And so yeah, it does have to be known ahead of time. It can't just be something that's busted out like, Bruce Springsteen going, okay, guys, we're going to play this tonight. Right. And,
Right.
and that's a beautiful situation. We've done that in the past, but I think more and more as time goes on, our production end of things becomes bigger and more elaborate.
Yep.
And when you're doing that, you have to consider everything. And what you said, everyone that's involved in that, they have to have the proper time so that they can respectfully represent their instrument, so to speak.
Right.
Right?
It's
Yeah.
funny you mentioned Bruce Springsteen. I interviewed Niels Lofgren years ago, and he said Bruce
Uh-huh.
will call audibles throughout the whole show. So he has to know a catalog of like 1,000 songs because you never know what this guy's going to call out. And that
Oh, yeah.
nerve-wracking. It's actually frightening.
It's nerve-wracking, but man, how amazing is that for the fans? And
Yeah.
then, you got to wonder if Bruce is there going, yeah, I'm just going to stick this one in there. I'll get you guys. Let's see how well you know this material.
Yeah.
I like, I've seen him in several interviews. He seems like a really decent human being, but I could see
Yeah.
there's a humorous side to him. There's no doubt about it. He's got
Oh,
a great sense of humor where he's going, hey guys, did you like that? Hey, I was okay. You had it. You got me, but no, I think that's a beautiful situation to be in because it does keep it fresh. And speaking of Mike, I know that if Mike could, he'd try and like throw in 10 different songs every set list if we could. But realistically, with what we're presenting as
right.
a
Right.
big picture, that's impossible.
That's
It's
right.
impossible.
You
Yeah.
know, I have to wonder too, and I want to be respectful to your time. It's been 15 years since you wrote and recorded with Mike Portnoy.
Yeah.
The writing process with him, like getting back on the horse, riding the bike, or did it take time to warm up and reframe and find the groove in the writing process?
No, I think it was exactly like that. It just felt so natural, so effortless, so familiar.
Yeah.
So that when we got in there and we started doing this stuff, no, it was just like, there it is. There's the chemistry.
Yeah.
There's what we used to do. And there were so many instances where we go, oh my God, I'm reminded of that's what we used to do. Or I'm reminded of situations like this occurring during the writing process where we had these similar conversations to get to the next part. So no, it was exactly like, hey, we're getting back on the horse and we're going out to get the cattle, so to speak. I don't know, or get something. I don't know what the hell we're getting.
Round up the doggies, right?
The cattle being the musical end of things. Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's funny. One last question for you.
Yeah.
The newly reunited Dream Theater, is there going to be an opportunity to play any songs that Mike wasn't on or
Well,
album?
we're already doing that.
Yeah. Is he
We're
willing
already-
to do that? With the set list, he
Oh,
goes,
no. He's
open to that.
He's completely open to that. If anything, though, we've always said, we want you to be comfortable, so you tell us what songs you like
right.
from those albums. And so it's more of an objective opinion, whereas we're very biased because I mean, all those songs we're like, oh, hey, I'll do, you know, I want to do this one, I want to do this one. So we're being respectful to him in the sense that, hey, you know, what songs are you leaning towards? What songs hit you right? You know, and that's why right now we're doing This Is the Life and Barstool Warrior, which are two great songs. You know, and yeah, we're having a great time with it, and he's being respectful of those 5 albums and the content and all the you know, the music from those albums as to what other songs we're going to do from those albums as the future unfolds. We don't know, you know, at this point, we're kind of content with what we're doing so far.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like let's keep in mind too, we have a new album coming out. So there's going to be a lot of focus on that as well,
Absolutely.
introducing more songs from that album. So,
Right.
you know, things will be what they are when we feel that it makes sense to pull out more from this or that, right?
That's very refreshing to hear. A lot of bands wouldn't be that open-minded to doing, you know, what he's doing. So kudos to him for that, pulling it off.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you so much for your time, James. It was a fascinating, insightful interview. The album is fantastic, and I wish you guys
thank you.
best. I will see you at I think maybe one of your last shows, I think, is in New York City, right? At the
Radio City.
March.
Radio City. Yeah, no, that's going to be, this will be our 3rd time playing there. It's a beautiful venue, and there's a lot of history there with Dream Theater. So yeah, we look forward to playing there again. So thanks, Robert. Yeah, and we'll
thank you so much for your
we'll
time.
see you at one of the last shows then.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, take care. All right, bye-bye.
Heavy metal rock.
Global Mind.